I'm the one who taught the new residents how to check a rhythm strip in under 10 seconds. And I still couldn't read my own heartbeat the morning Dr. Nathaniel Ford walked back onto my cardiac unit after 4 years away. I'm Wren, telemetry nurse, night-to-day swing shifts, the one who knows which monitors lie and which ones tell the truth. 4 years ago, Nathaniel was a resident on my floor, all elbows and nerves, the kind of doctor who apologized to patients for waking them to check vitals. We were friends, maybe something almost more, right up until the night his father coded in a hospital 2 states away, and he left mid-rotation without finishing the sentence he'd started saying to me in the supply hallway. I never found out how it ended. I told myself I didn't need to. He came back as an attending, older, quieter, a faint grey thread at his temple that hadn't been there before, and a way of pausing in doorways like he was steadying himself before walking through them. My first thought was pure professional relief. We needed a good cardiologist. My second thought, right behind it, was something I wasn't proud of. He still tucks his pen behind his ear when he's thinking, exactly like before. "Wren," he said, like my name still cost him something to say out loud. "You're still here." "Somebody has to keep the monitors honest," I said, and went back to charting, because if I kept talking, I was going to ask him the question that had been sitting in my chest for 4 years, unopened, like a letter I was afraid to read. For the first 2 weeks, we were painfully correct with each other. Rounds, handoffs, coffee we drank in the same break room at careful distances. My friend Denise, who's worked nights longer than I've been alive, watched us pass a chart back and forth without touching hands and said, "You two are doing a whole opera with your shoulders, and neither one of you will sing the actual song." I told her there was no song. I told myself the same thing at 2 in the morning, restocking crash cart supplies, running his sentence, the unfinished one, through my head for the 1,000th time. Was I? "Wren, I need to tell you something before..." Before what? Before he got the call. Before he vanished into a family emergency and a residency transfer, and 4 years of silence broken only by one Christmas card I still hadn't decided whether to keep. The night it finally cracked open, we had a patient crash at 3 a.m., the kind of code where the whole floor moves like one animal. Compressions, meds pushed, my voice calling out rhythms while his hands worked with a calm that used to unravel me a little. We got the patient back. We always remember the ones we get back. Afterward, in the stairwell where nobody goes because the vending machine on that landing has been broken since before either of us worked there, he finally stopped walking past the sentence. "I was going to ask you to wait for me," he said, leaning against the cinder block wall like it was the only thing holding him up. That night. And then my father was dying and I got on a plane and I told myself it wasn't fair to ask a 26-year-old nurse to put her life on hold for a man who didn't know when or if he'd come back. "You didn't ask," I said, and it came out sharper than I meant it. 4 years of quiet resentment I hadn't admitted to myself, sharpening it further. "You just left. There's a difference between not asking because it wasn't fair and not asking because it was easier." He didn't argue with me. That was the thing that undid me. He just nodded, like he'd already had that fight with himself 100 times on red-eye flights and hospital cafeteria coffee, and lost it every time. "You're right," he said. "I've had 4 years to find a kinder way to say I was a coward, and I never did." I think about that stairwell a lot now, how easy it would have been to just accept the apology and keep both of us safe behind our badges and our shift schedules. Instead, I asked him the question I'd been sitting on. "If I had waited," I said, "what would you have come back to say?" He looked at me for a long moment, the kind where the overhead fluorescent hums and you can hear the elevator 2 floors down and your own pulse feels louder than any monitor. "I'd have asked if I could take you to dinner somewhere that isn't attached to a hospital," he said. "Someplace where nobody pages either of us." We're 2 months into figuring out what that actually looks like now, careful and a little clumsy, like neither of us fully trusts that this time he stays. I keep waiting for the old fear to show up, that a phone call could still take him somewhere I can't follow, and some nights it does show up, and I let it sit there instead of pretending it's not real. Denise says that's the healthiest thing she's ever heard me say about a man, which honestly worries me more than it should. What I keep coming back to, on the drive home when the sun's coming up over the parking garage and I'm too tired to lie to myself, is whether 4 years apart made us more honest with each other or just better at performing honesty on command. I don't have an answer yet. I'm not sure I need one tonight. But I do know that when he tucks that pen behind his ear now, mid-sentence, thinking, I don't look away anymore. And I wonder sometimes, if you'd waited 4 years for an unfinished sentence, whether you'd have let him finish it the way I did, or whether you'd have already turned the page.